So let's be clear at this point. This video is not about a new Oris watch, but it is about a new Oris in-house movement, one that looks set to open a new chapter for the brand. So learn the name right now. It's Calibre 400, and the headline features include automatic winding, a 5-day or 120-hour power reserve, anti-magnetic resistance to 2250 Gauss, and lastly, a class-leading 10-year warranty and service interval. Interested? Let's have a closer look. So this is the new Calibre 400 movement, and as you can see on first impression, the design and finishing is very industrial and unpretentious, very much in line with Oris's philosophy of watchmaking. So one of the highlight features is its 120-hour or 5-day power reserve, and that is achieved via the twin barrels shown here and here. At the top, you can see the screw adjusted regulation system and the balance wheel, and just under that, you can just about make out the silicon escapement parts, the pallet fork and escape wheel pushing out at a rate of 4 Hz. The rotor uses a slide bearing system instead of a ball bearing system, which not only looks more simplified, but is also more efficient and also avoids all the load on the system being on a single point. It winds in one direction instead of two, and there's no obvious wobble when shaking it around and no loud ticking sounds as well. Speaking of the rotor, this movement will not feature the famous red rotor seen in Oris's Celita based watches. Instead, Oris has gone for this more austere styling that somewhat blends the rotor into the movement in a more monochromatic look. So on the front side, the first thing to notice is that the date wheel is quite large, so that should translate into a more readable date on whatever watch this movement ends up in. There's plenty of room in the middle here, and Oris tells me that because of the long power reserve and efficiency, this is a movement that can be put to running other complications, so perhaps we can have a GMT, a chronograph, and even a perpetual calendar version in the future. The 0 position here is for winding, first position here for the date change, second position is for time setting, as you can see, the wheels in the center moving. And you see that when you turn the movement over, it has stopped. So this movement hacks as well. The best feature of the movement that isn't written anywhere on it is that it's anti-magnetic and has been tested to 2250 Gauss, which is higher than the typical 1000 Gauss in other anti-magnetic watches. Also, unlike the typical anti-magnetic watch, it achieves this ability through the use of non-ferromagnetic components. One thing is certain is that because of this, the movement will probably be visible under a sapphire caseback in the watch that it will come in. When we compare it to the Calibre 114 movement, we see similar aesthetics, even though this is a totally different movement, being manual winding with a 10-day power reserve. However, it shares the same austere, functional and industrial design language, and probably will be the way going forward if Oris decides to develop more movements in the future. This Calibre 114 with GMT function was based off the Calibre 110, which was the first modern in-house movement that Oris created back in 2014 and represented the first step of the brand into reclaiming its past as a movement maker, with a history of 229 movements in the earlier portion of the brand's life before the quartz crisis. In fact, the Calibre 400 recalls the Calibre 601 from 1952, the first automatic movement from the brand. Now, with the Calibre 400, Oris is well on its way of reclaiming its past glory in watchmaking, as well as giving fans one more in-house option with upgraded performance benefits over standard off-the-shelf movements. So I hate it when brands introduce a new movement and not allow us to have it in a watch. But I've been sniffing the air and feel that Oris will not want to disappoint us or let us wait too long. Let's see what they do, and hopefully very soon.